All right, Mr. Bluud, we are here to talk about Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Lyra Valkyria, and Bayley for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. First of all, Mr. Bluud, what's going on, man?
Doing pretty well, man. Super excited for WrestleMania. I can't believe how fast it came from last year. Kind of feels like they're coming faster and faster every year. I feel like, as far as booking's concerned, this might be Triple H's worst booked Mania as far as stories going into it. But I think, aside from the stories going into the booking, I think the matches themselves are going to be probably, in my opinion, mostly spectacular. I mean, I don't see a bad worker on the card.
Yeah, the roster's so bulletproof that the stories are kind of whatever. I do kind of agree with the sentiment that the stories coming in aren't as sexy as they have been in the past. But
No.
let's talk this gauntlet match last night. Do you feel that Lyra and Bayley were the right choices right here? I'm going to run down the 6 teams in it, and you let me know. So we had, first of all, they started the gauntlet against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks. Then they went on to face Maxine Dupree and Natalia. Kaden Carter, Katana Chance was next, and then Michin B-Fab, and then the Secret Hervis, Piper Niven, and Alba Fire. Were these two girls, Bayley and Lyra, the right choice to win that?
No. Hot
take. Let's hear it.
I said it on our podcast on Friday, our review. I was extremely aggravated at this choice. I was pissed off.
Who the right choice then?
The right choice to me should have been Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, because these girls have been putting in so much work. They are Shayna is not underrated because we know that in the beginning she got a crazy ass monster push by Vince. She was the baddest woman in the locker room aside from Ronda, but she's a legit shoot threat like a Brock Lesnar is. And she has the wrestling capability, the technical style, and she deserves a fucking proper push. And they have character assassinated her for years. And then you have Zoe Stark, who is the definition of under fucking rated.
I think she's awesome.
She is insanely talented. Yeah. And the last time this woman got anything worthwhile to do is when she was still with Trish Stratus when they were heels. And I thought they were really going to strap the rocket to her when she turned on Trish and turned babyface, because she did turn babyface for a little while. Mm-hmm. And they tried to push her that way, and they just weren't booking her right. They were letting her win. They were letting her showcase her ability, but they didn't give her anything more than that to do. I really thought she should have been the one to win the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I thought she made the most sense. I thought, you put it on her, great worker. You could really build her up. She's going to have great matches with everybody. Having her and Shayna have the rugs pulled out from under her, or under both of them, just because they decided to screw them and fire Sonya Deville, another highly underrated, incredible talent, who was half the reason the women's division in the pandemic era was as good as it was with her feud with Mandy Rose. And we realized just how great a talker Sonya is and just how great a character work she is. The fact that they decided to can Sonya, but somehow B-Fab is still there, and Michin is still there, but Sonya just came back. And I don't want anybody to lose their jobs, but because they're releasing people, you see where releasing Sonya makes no sense versus the other two I mentioned. You just brought Sonya back. You just had her put the stable together. You just had her featured on Monday Night Raw regularly. So what the hell did you do? Why did you cut these girls' legs out from under them? And then we haven't seen hide nor hair of them until basically this past Friday. And then when you have a chance to do right, to rebuild them the way that you look like you were trying to do, you fucking go the other way. So it pissed me off. They should have won. They would make those titles exceptional.
Well, they used them to kick off the gauntlet right away, so it kind of shows you what they think of them. Good workers to kind of go out there, have a good 4-minute match to set this gauntlet up for success. And I thought at the end, especially with the Hervis girls in there, this match started cooking, and it was a pretty good gauntlet match. It's a decent way to fill a 3-hour show. Go out there for 30 minutes, probably like 40 minutes of TV time, and just make it work. They did that, and it's kind of like a trope to be like, all right, well, you're going to have Lyra and Bayley go the distance, but they've never teamed together. So, they automatically have the chemistry to kind of fluently go together for those 45 minutes. That's a little weird.
I thought I said this on the podcast Friday. I thought it was like, they always do this where they try to do this hodgepodge bullshit where they try to, I call it the mega powers spot, where you basically try to put two major players, and by major in Lyra, I mean that loosely. In Bayley, I mean that emphatically. But you basically put the Bayley, who's the Hulk Hogan in this situation, this scenario, and the Lyra, who's the Macho Man in this scenario, and you put them together to see if they can coexist and win the big one when they're working together, even though they have a mini feud going on. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you could put your women's intercontinental champion on the WrestleMania card in a women's tag title match, but you can't have her showcase the intercontinental title she just defended this past Monday on the card. You couldn't give it a proper story. Her and Chelsea Green both don't have singles title matches on this card at WrestleMania. The two brand newest titles that at the first Mania coming up where they are active titles on the roster, you're not showcasing them at your biggest show of the year, but somehow we have filler fucking matches galore between Logan Paul and AJ Styles. Randy Orton's probably going to be in some hodgepodge match before next Friday is over. You got fucking Rey Mysterio versus Chad Gable in a fucking mask. Like, I mean, dude.
Hey, no shit at El Grande Americano.
But it's one of those things where it's like, I see all these bullshit matches that have no place or reason. The only one-on-one match that's going on that has no title involved that actually makes sense for being on the card because it's had a feud building for months is Naomi versus Jade. Yeah. So what? But you're telling me you just needed to get Logan Paul on the Mania card? That was so important. You couldn't, if Kevin was going out. And let's say Kevin's injury is shoot, not kayfabe, right? Let's say he doesn't attack Randy before the end of next Friday Night SmackDown. You're telling me you couldn't give AJ to Randy, right? If you were already throwing matches together for AJ and you're going to have to for Randy to get him on the card, you couldn't just put them together. Logan has to be there, right? Okay, so Ray just randomly needed to be on the WrestleMania fucking card. Like I'm like, but you have two fucking champions here, two women's champions that you've done nothing with, that you basically made these titles to just quell the fans and go, you want them so bad, here you go. But you never had any plans for them other than the tournaments. No stories planned out to build. I genuinely believe the only reason the Intercontinental Championship is on Lyra Valkyria is because they were hoping Becky would come back in time so she could feud with Lyra. When they realized she wasn't, they were like, well, we don't have anything for you, but you're already the champion and we don't have to take it off you.
Exactly what I was just going to say. It seems like Becky found herself not interested in this Mania, and Bayley found herself in Becky Lynch's spot.
Which is also stupid because they were building a feud between Roxanne Perez and Bayley, and that just fucking dropped out of nowhere, and all of a sudden,
probably a ping pong effect of having to do this. You know, we had 3 matches there: Bayley, Roxanne, Lyra, and Becky, and then Liv and Raquel. All right, well, we can only make 1 match here. Yeah. Let's go with Bayley. Let's kind of take those 3 components and turn this into 1 tag match.
Yeah. All the women's booking this Mania has pissed me off. The worst offender, and I did a whole video on this on my TikTok channel. The worst booked match of this Mania is Ripley versus Bianca versus Io. Yeah, this is the worst, dumbest book shit ever. I said it from the get-go. I've been screaming it to the choir for weeks. Bianca never should have been in the chamber. It should have been either Io or Rhea in the chamber, and one of the others should have been the one that, let's say Io dethroned Liv. Rhea goes in the chamber. Rhea wins the chamber. Now you can still tell the story of Rhea never being able to get the better of Io. Or Rhea dethrones Liv like she did, and you put Io in the chamber. And then you still tell the story of Rhea not being able to beat Io. Why is Bianca there? There's a whole other story she was just involved in that hasn't had a finish or a culmination with her involvement yet. She was the one betrayed just as much as Jade was and the one lied to. Why is she automatically ripped out and put on Raw? Your character assassinating her because now the crowd is turning on her. She's a babyface, but she's getting booed out the fucking building because you're booking her to act like a jackass. Like all the women's bullshit this year has pissed me off. But this is one of the second worst offenders in my opinion because you have a singles champion right there vying for the women's tag titles. And I'm just like, dude, you couldn't think of any number of women that deserved an intercontinental shot at the grandest stage of them all. And you could put another team more deserving of a title shot like freaking Zoe and Raquel for those titles at Mania. And then put Bayley back in a feud with Roxanne. Like, come on. Like, what if you're already having singles matches at Mania that have no titles? Why couldn't you still do Bayley versus Roxanne? You get Roxanne on the WrestleMania card and highlight her, and get Bayley to shine a light on her, and Bayley gets a deserving spot on the card.
Yeah, I think originally maybe now that we're kind of flushing all this out, it feels like Lyra took maybe Roxanne's spot, where
Kind of
Bayley,
feels that way, right?
yeah, where Bayley and Roxanne were gonna like enemies, then they become frenemies, win the gauntlet, and kind of find themselves in here. Becky kind of just said, "This doesn't really work for me, brother." Or perhaps they wanted to do like a three-way tag team match between Becky, Lyra, Bayley, Roxanne, and Liv and Raquel, because there are only so many slots and matches on WrestleMania. Hence why we have three ways, four ways,
Oh man,
everything
this was
going
like
on here.
what was the last Mania that did it like that? Was that 19 or 20? That was just
2000, there
multi-man
was
matches
yeah,
galore.
2000. It was probably it's a bottom tier WrestleMania, right? So I don't think we'll have there because the talent is so
Yeah.
equipped. I think we're going to be all right.
I mean,
That
these matches are gonna.
yeah,
I mean, most, if not all, these matches are gonna be fucking certified bangers. I don't see a bad worker anywhere on this card.
yeah.
I mean, you could say that the worst worker on the card is Logan Paul due to inexperience and everything, but he's
Still
not.
pretty good though
But he's
for
not
what he
green.
is. For what he is.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
he's not green anymore. So it's one of those things where it's like, we're going to get some great in-ring work here for sure. I think that where Liv was a year ago and what they did with her all year last year, really building her up, and she's found herself back into the mid card in the tag division. And it's like, dude, she was your women's champion for the majority of last year. Okay. And you've thrown her back into the mid card. And I'm like, they're doing this thing where they're giving everybody a spotlight to shine in before throwing them down the card.
Yeah.
They're doing it. They're doing it to Liv. They did it to Solo. You know, like, I mean, they gave AJ a boost back in the main event against Cody. He's back in the mid card. They gave freaking main event status to Sami Zayn. He's back in the mid card. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they gave LA Knight back in the mid card. You know, but it's like, it's crazy. It's like, dude, do you plan on sustaining any of these people's pushes so they can become these great, amazing stars of the next generation? Or are you just going to quell the fans and get the fans to shut up by going, okay, we gave them their time to shine, and then you're going to throw them back down the card?
Well, they're by putting them in the mid card and then moving them back down, you would think you're strengthening your mid card. So I kind of see it a little bit. You can
It's
only
like
have so many main eventers,
you know,
but
you think you're straightening your mid card, but then you're not booking them in anything that's showing their strengths.
well, what I will say, this does feel like a Liv Morgan match opposed to a tag team title match.
Yeah, I mean, she's been a tag wrestler the majority of her entire WWE tenure. She debuted in, what was it, the Riot Squad as a stable tag team. I
Yeah,
mean,
and then she had the Raquel, and then she had the Rhea, then now she's back to the
yeah.
Raquel.
I mean, she's been a tag. I mean, and don't get me wrong. This if there was going to be a big name in the tag division that should be there, Liv is perfect because Liv can go from, in my opinion, Liv can go from singles main event to tag main event. And it's not like they haven't been putting a light on these women's tag titles. They've been defended in the main events a couple times this year as the last matches of the shows here. They've been getting the respect,
And they've been crushing it too when they were put in those
oh
spots.
man, they've been absolutely killing it. I mean,
Yeah,
and for the Liv hater, I don't understand the Liv hate. She's so good at making you hate her. That's her job as a
yeah.
heel. But the thing is, she has improved so much in the last 2 years. She is insanely much better than she
Yeah, she
was
feels
2
so
years ago.
comfortable and conveys it
She's so
across.
much more comfortable. And I
Yeah,
think putting her in the Judgment Day really helped her come into her own, even though that makes no sense because the stable. What I mean is it helped her really flesh her character out while there was time to have other people in the stable protecting her weaknesses that she was still trying to solidify and build. And it gave her so much more time to work off of other people, really play into her character, find out the finesse of who Liv Morgan should be. And I think the same thing with Raquel. Raquel came back super boring. And
she's a good number two.
I
Yeah,
still think Raquel is incredibly boring. But I love her much more as a heel than it is as a babyface.
yeah. The
And putting her with,
smiley, yeah.
exactly, and putting her with someone like Liv, whom she can also play off of, I think it's only a benefit to the both of them.
I feel like Liv's in a good spot still. This match feels like her opposed
Yeah.
to You know, that's like, all right, well, the tag titles are important because Liv's important. So let's sacrifice the IC belt. Let's sacrifice the Bayley match and make sure that Liv's in a prominent spot because she's coming off a good year. And let's continue with that equity into 2025 because you never know when we're going to need her. Because look what happened last year. Rhea got hurt and then Liv carried us.
Yeah,
Becky
yeah.
went away. Liv carried us.
And Liv doesn't get enough credit for that either. She really
Yeah.
isn't getting enough credit for that. I still have this weird sneaking feeling, like it's just a gut feeling. But I feel that at some point when this match is over, we're going to hear Becky Lynch's music at some point standing on the stage. Or I don't know why. I have this like, maybe it's a fantasy book, but I feel like this Mania won't end without a return from Becky Lynch.
Yeah, in some aspect, this match perhaps I don't know if it's big
Well,
enough.
the reason I say that is because she was at some show over the weekend and
Some
she was
improv thing, right?
yeah, and they had it where she's like, "Oh, I'm done wrestling for now." You know, I mean, I love it, but
Yeah.
I'm done with it. But why say that when you know that you're on camera? Because
And you're signed under a WWE contract in the Netflix commercials.
the thing about wrestlers, they're always working.
Oh yeah.
You know, so and that's the same thing. People are like, well, you know, Kevin was on Chris Van Fleet. You know, he says he's injured. They're never stopping. They never stop working.
Now,
You know?
speaking not to go off on a crazy tangent, but if they do not have a opponent announced for Randy, perhaps Kevin sneaks back in. And your theory could be a little merit.
I
Give me
thought
some
that
merit
whole.
to your theory.
I mean, we won't get into the segment, but the
Yeah,
way the segment was set up from start to finish, it felt like a work.
yeah.
It
We'll
felt
see. We'll
top to
see.
bottom. But as
Never say
far as
never.
this is concerned, this match, these four women,
Yeah.
it's going to be a great match. You've got fucking Bayley in there. You've got, and by the way, Bayley and Lyra tore it down, in my opinion, from the middle to the ending half of the match on Monday. Their first match together was horrible. I felt like there was some horrible miscommunication going on between them. This one definitely made up for that. So, I mean, we'll see. But I mean, with the way they've been doing the tag team division for the women's, they've been giving them time. They've really been giving them time in these matches. So I feel like at some point this match is going to start getting this is awesome chance. I mean, it feels like it.
Placement.
Liv seems to be
Placement
involved in
matters,
a
right?
lot of matches
Yeah.
like that lately.
Placement
People,
matters for this match for sure. We'll see
yeah,
if they're put in a good spot. They could go out there and kind of outkick their coverage, right?
yeah.
All right. Before we get to our winners, Mr. Blood, what do you got going on WrestleMania Day on your TikTok stream?
So me personally on my channel, Mr. _ BLUDD, Mr. Blood on TikTok. WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday, I will be live streaming my reactions. The camera will not be aimed at the screen because it's a great way to get kicked off of TikTok Live for copyright. But I will be live streaming both nights my reactions for the entirety of both shows. So you can hang out with me on the podcast, or not podcast, but on the live stream. WrestleMania night 1 and 2. Come hang out with me. My wife will be there. My in-laws will be there, and but the camera will mostly be on me, and I'll be responding to you in the chats as much as can while we're watching, and you can just hang out with me while we see what's going on.
Cool. And then check out Snug. I call it Snug's Universe. You, Toxic, BT, and
Tommy.
Edgar, Tommy. Yeah. You guys do a post show, Raw, SmackDown, and
Yep.
you'll be doing something after WrestleMania as well, right?
Yeah, well, so we're going to be actually doing WrestleMania night 1 and 2 reviews after each show, Saturday and Sunday, at Snug Wrestling. They are on the screen under my name, SNUG Wrestling. Wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, Instagram Live, Apple Podcast. And this Wednesday, we'll also be going live with our WrestleMania predictions as well around 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can catch us there too. Hang out with us Monday nights and Friday nights after Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, respectively, where we do post-show reviews every single week. So come hang out with us. It'll be great.
I've dipped my toes a little bit in there too, but I listen
and Ryan
every
from
Tuesday and Saturday. I listen.
Yeah, Noso has shown up with us as well once or twice, at least since I've been on the panel. And definitely go over to Snug Wrestling on Instagram and on TikTok at Snug Wrestling. Give Edgar a follow. He had to remake his account because they kicked him off his first one when he hit 10,000 followers. He could really use the extra support so we can keep building up that channel again back to the prominence and glory it should have been at.
Yep, no doubt. Edgar's a good friend over here. We support everything Snug. All right. Who are you going to be supporting this match? I think the Judgment Day girls win, and I think
so too. I think I don't think Lyra needs another title because she has one to worry about that they're not even worrying about themselves. I think this is going to be a great showcase match. I think, if anything, this is going to be a match that possibly ends, in my opinion, maybe due to a miscommunication between Bayley and Lyra. And I think it's going to set up a furthering feud between the two of them. But as far as it's concerned, I definitely have Liv and Raquel going over. They just won them. Why take them off immediately? Just let the girls showcase what they can do. Give them 12 to 18 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes is a sweet spot. Let them get those. This is awesome chance. This is we're past the age where the women's matches are piss breaks. I have yet to come across a women's match in the last fucking almost 6 years of Manias that were not worth watching and incredible, and where the women are really getting their due and their time to shine. So I think Liv and Raquel deserve to go over for their WrestleMania moments. But I think Lyra and Bayley are maybe going to have some kind of dissension during this match, and that's what's going to cause them the loss or some kind of miscommunication, and that's going to further a story between them.
No doubt. All right, guys, check out Snug Wrestling.